Know thy enemy.
You like that? You like that? You like that?
Could have had the food and beverage job.
Welcome back to the Villain Report. I am Russell Wayne, a.k.a. the Villain, a.k.a. the UDFA of sports podcasting, the undrafted free agent. That's right, undrafted, unwanted, but still finding my way into the millions of all of the Villains fans every single week. They say history doesn't repeat itself, but it sure does have a way of echoing loud enough to be heard. Monday Night Football brings us a heavyweight clash in Baltimore, where the Detroit Lions are looking to slay the long-standing giant. It's the Lions versus the Ravens. The bully meets Detroit, a matchup that has been one-sided and the one that the Lions have been aching to rewrite. Detroit heads in this primetime showdown, trying to end the losing streak that stretches back 2 decades against Baltimore. The Lions' last win in this series came in October of 2005, where Joey Harrington was your quarterback. And since then, the Ravens have owned the rivalry, beating Detroit in all 6 of the most recent meetings. That backdrop, but in now the Know Thy Enemy, we're going to break down what will matter on the field, what matchups will flip the script in the favor of Detroit, what Baltimore's strengths are that the Lions must neutralize, what edges do the Lions have, their weapons, their scheme, their mindset that could finally snap the streak. So strap in. Here are the keys to both sides. They will decide Monday night's battle in Baltimore in Know Thy Enemy. That's right. This episode is brought to you by Fanatics.com. That's right. If you're rocking with the 313, if you bleed Honolulu blue, then you need to gear up like the real one over at Fanatics, our official merch partner. I'm talking official Lions jerseys, blackout hoodies, throwback Tigers gear, WWE gear, Red Wings drip, so icy. It should come with a Zamboni. So here's what you do. You click this link that I'm throwing into the comments right now. Save up to 25% off of your order from our affiliate marketing partners over at Fanatics. Every click supports the channel, the page, and lets the world know Detroit fans do it bigger and better. Villain Squad don't do knockoffs. We do official. We do Fanatics. Get yours. 79,000 strong. Approaching. Connect with us. Connect with us. 79,000 strong. Help us storm the castle of 100,000 followers. Hit that follow button. If you're on YouTube, I invite you to go over and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are approaching 1,000 subscribers on there. Connecting with you, TikTok, Instagram, wherever you scroll, the Villain rolls. Connect with me on all platforms and be part of the takeover, because it is faith, family, and then football in that order. We use football to spend time with our families. We don't let football use us. So with that, welcome to the program, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I always forget to do my back. There we go. Let me get back in there. Welcome one, welcome all to the show. I want to say hello to everybody. Everybody in the chat. everybody that's ready for the Lions to end the streak, the nasty streak that stems back all the way to 2005. That's right. We're ready to end it. Let's see who we got into the comments right there. Good morning to everybody right there. Davey's in the house.
You like that?
That's
you like
right.
That?
Tyler's in the house.
You like that?
And we got Shamika in the
You
house.
like
Enough
that?
of that shit.
Yeah,
You like
Jason
that?
MC's in the house.
You
Make
like
sure
that?
you get your good morning comments in there. If you are down with the Detroit Lions, if you love the Detroit Lions, give me a hell yeah in the comments. Let me know that you're here so I can acknowledge you, you know? And it's Friday. I'm sorry I didn't get to come in yesterday. My son had a doctor appointment tomorrow or yesterday morning. So, and I figured we had an extra day getting ready for the Monday showdown that you could probably use a day off of me anyway. Why not? But yeah, Rick C.
You like that?
What's up? What's up, Jeffrey?
You like that?
And Jason MC's got a skull in there. Hey, we invite them all in. We invite them all in. And this is part of a segment that dates back all the way to 2021, where we break down our opponents in the segment that we call Know Thy Enemy. That's right. Good morning, Charles. Muskegon Posse's in the house.
You like that? You like that?
So, where are we going to first? Let me get in here. Let me get my notes out right there. Right there. So, first of all, I want to give you a decent injury picture. Let me get my injury stuff out right here. That's right. Injury picture. As of right now, I'm on the ESPN website here. You got DJ Reed is questionable, was limited in Thursday's practice. Tim Twentyman of the Lions official site reports. Marcus Davenport hasn't practiced, no practice on Thursday. They said that they're waiting to hear back from some medical stuff going on right now, so we don't know what's going on with Davenport. Kirby Joseph is listed as questionable with knee. He was limited in Thursday's practice. I don't think that's going to be an issue there. Jack Campbell was questionable. His ankle did not practice on Thursday. I don't know. We should monitor that one. Taylor Decker is questionable, but he's been dealing with a shoulder thing anyway. So if Taylor Decker doesn't go, they were even saying that it's going to be the next man up, which would be Giovanni Manu. I don't know if we're ready to see that yet. So hopefully we have Taylor Decker in on that one. Now, as far as the Baltimore Ravens go, dun 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 dun. There we go. The Baltimore Ravens, Nate Wiggins is questionable. Did not practice on Thursday. Running back, fullback, Rasheen Ali in concussion protocol. Isaiah Likely, their backup tight end, missed Thursday's practice. And Matabuke, their defensive tackle, that's probably the biggest impact player right there that we would have to worry about going through this. So I don't know if they're dealing with some stuff or not. I don't think injuries is really going to play that much of a factor into the game. You know, Kyle Van Noy, I know that he's out, but they're a lot like us. You know, they got the next man up mentality. All their guys can play. So I'm not sure if I'm too concerned about anything injury wise. All right, Lions Nation, welcome to the Know Thy Enemy. This week, the villain isn't wearing Honolulu blue. It's because it's the bully. Isn't just wearing Honolulu blue. It's the bully from Baltimore. So it was Honolulu black and blue is what we've been wearing because the Ravens, 7 meetings in history, and they beat us 6 straight losses. 2 of them were under Dan Campbell. And that's the ghost that we're chasing on Monday night. So the first thing I want to talk about here after the injuries is the coaching right there. John Harbaugh, 18 years in Baltimore, 28 seasons in the NFL. He's built like a rock. His team's always rugged, always disciplined, always tough. Dan Campbell said it himself. You can't take any playoff against these guys because they'll chew you up and spit you out. They're coached well. They're coached well, but I think that we are too. I think that there's not just there's some spots that we're going to be able to do some things. We have really good players too. It's really weird because, like, back in the day, when we're talking about the Lions, you're talking about the ways they can sneak through and win. Now, they got to get this ghost off of their back. And I don't know if there's anybody out there that doesn't think that means a lot. But it means a lot. Like, when the Lions are trying to end, like, old streaks like that. I mean, dating back to 2005. I mean, think about that. The last time the Lions beat the Baltimore Ravens was in 2005. I mean, what does that even look like? Joey Harrington was 10 for 23 for 97 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Kevin Jones had 2 touchdown runs. 26 carries for 58 yards. What is that? That's like 2 yards a carry. Not even. That's crazy. They had a long touchdown run there. Sean Bryson. That was probably the story of the game. The last time the Lions won, 35-17 over the Ravens. So that's a long streak. That means something. It isn't just... I mean, you got to break these old streaks. Because I remember in 2022, they started peeling away a lot of this old bullshit.
You've had enough of that shit.
You know, a lot of those, they haven't done this since, they landed on the moon. Like, there's a lot of those things. And it's getting down to the point where there's only a few little things here that they got to remove from that bad karma. One of them being the Super Bowl victory. If you've noticed, the people that move the goalposts, that's where they move it to. And that's good, because the goalposts used to just be, you can't win the division. Oh, you can't even win a playoff game. Like, those are the goal. They didn't have to move the goalposts to the Super Bowl. How do you expect to win a Super Bowl? You can't even make it to, they can't even win a playoff game. So they had to knock these things off one by one by one. And this is one that they haven't knocked off yet. Because Harbaugh's a great coach. It doesn't matter if he's got Joe Flacco. It don't matter. Dilfer. Now, I don't know if he had Dilfer. I think Dilfer left when they changed coaches on him. But, I mean, Harbaugh's been awesome there. Always has a good team. Always. I mean, I was one of those dumbasses that thought, it was going to change things when they brought Lamar Jackson. Well, you don't know how to design a offense around him, because sometimes you got you got coaches that don't design their offenses or schematically make their teams around their players. And I always thought that was a big mistake when you're trying to get players into a scheme. Now, schemes work good for some players, probably for a majority. I guess I shouldn't say that. Probably a majority of the player, the schemes work. Square peg, round hole. You don't want to do that with your great players. Like what I see with Chicago right now with Caleb Williams. It really looks like he's trying to fit the square peg into the round hole, and you don't want to do that. And Harbaugh don't do that. They scheme around their players and the strengths of their players. Build all of the schematics around the strengths of what their players can do. Jeffrey's in the house.
You like that?
What up? Hell yeah. Good morning. Rick says he would have missed yesterday anyway.
You like that?
Yeah, I had to take my son to a doctor appointment. Jason MC says, we're still waiting on Christian Darrisaw. Full practice, though. That'll be really big for you guys. The Minnesota Vikings could use a boost. But I'll say the same thing about Carson Wentz, Jason, that I said about Sam Darnold last year when McCarthy went down. It might not be a bad thing for you guys. Carson Wentz has got experience. And when he's got players to throw to, he's been pretty good. He can be pretty good. If O'Connell can settle him down a little bit and let him play within the schematics of their offense, he doesn't have to make every play there. You got great playmakers over there. I mean, I don't know. Minnesota's a well-coached team, so I would think that they could do something even with Carson Wentz. It might end up being a good thing because I don't know if JJ's ready. Just like I caution Lions fans that it's just the Bears. You getting a last-second victory on the Bears, it's not looking like that's too great of a thing. McCarthy wasn't looking like he was handling NFL pressure very well. But, it's still early. But it may actually benefit you guys to have Carson Wentz in there. That's just my opinion. John Dorn coming in with the Any Given Sunday. It is. It's the NFL. This is the NFL. Any Given Sunday. All the players can play. As much as we come on here, we make fun of each other. Oh, your guy sucks and that guy sucks and we're going to blah, 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 blah. All the guys can play. Every person on the 53-man roster, all 48 guys that go to play game day, even extended out into the 16 guys on the practice squad. They can all ball. Every single one of them. So the illusion of this guy sucks, that guy sucks. No, there's just great players. There's all great players in the NFL. It's the ones that are elite in that great room that stand above. But there are no bad players. I'll stand on that forever. You can't prove that to me. There are no bad players. Sometimes you get your light dimmed when you're in a room full of greatness. If you're not as great as all the greatest. It's crazy how much competition there is in the NFL and how close that it actually is in talent from top to bottom. Adam says, I agree. McCarthy needs to grow a little bit. But you never know. I mean, there's just something. I think that the Lions are an elite team, and I think that the Packers are an elite team. And I think that those are a head-to-head matchup that we're heading to. I believe this is the year that the NFC North is going to have to play each other in the playoffs. We're going to get that third game this year. So Packer fans, buckle up. I think it is going to come down to the playoffs. And it doesn't even matter who wins these regular season games. I think it is going to come down to the playoffs. Because that Micah Parsons deal put you into the elite category. And I think the Lions were already in that category. But I think that move caught you up to the Lions. And some might say you push past. That we'll have to see how the rest of that plays out. Because I do believe that the Lions are still growing into these coordinators, you know. Like I said, I think it's going to take 6 weeks for them to push it out there. So let's dive a little bit more into this matchup. Before we get in there, let me put a shout out right here to our affiliate marketing partners right there over at Fanatics. You can hit that link that I threw into the comments. Save up to 25% off of your orders by clicking that link, supporting our page, and we appreciate you for that. From our affiliate marketing partner, save up to 25% off your order from Fanatics. That's right. All right, so let's talk the offense. So offensive coordinator Todd Monken is the mad scientist. There's 2 national titles that he won at Georgia, and now he's scheming up chaos in Baltimore. He's got heavy sets, 2, even 3 tight end sets, motions, bootlegs, jet sweeps, everything tailored to Lamar Jackson. Zay Flowers, now he's a go-to weapon, 14 catches already. Everybody else, it's an afterthought. Mark Andrews doesn't look like himself, and Hopkins is just on spot duty. So that means, to me, if Detroit clamps down on Flowers and forces Lamar to spread it around, then suddenly this offense looks a whole lot less scary. But here's the danger, is they will grind you out. They aren't afraid to grind you out with Derrick Henry and get 3 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards, 3 yards, 4 yards, boom. And then they hit you with the big 40, just like Dan Campbell talked about in his media session. They'll grind you out. It's hard to keep a running back like Derrick Henry behind the sticks. Even when you stop him, you don't really stop him. That's the problem with that offense. What do you think of their offense matching up against our defense? Because honestly, the way that our defense has been playing, where it's been strong, I actually like the matchup. Just like like I said right there, if you can take Zay Flowers out of the scenario, you know, secondary wise, I think that we can blanket everybody else. I don't have anybody else that, you know, even with Terrion Arnold struggling, I don't see anybody else out there like that. So if they keep everything in front of them like that, and then they're able to, you know, be good against the run like they've been, being able to crush the pocket, I think they can put themselves in the plus situations. I think there's going to be opportunities for turnovers. So I think there could be a kink right there. And, you know, they were able to do whatever they wanted last time. You know, granted, we had some injuries when we played them the last time. going into it, but I mean, they really put it to us. And they remember things like that, especially some of the, Jack Campbell was a rookie that year. That whole draft class, when you think about it. Brian Branch was in there. So they remember that stuff. So I think that the defense is going to take this really personally. And I think there's an advantage right there. They don't have a lot of the playmakers. I think that we're good in coverage. There's definitely more playmakers on, in the first 2 weeks. And their strength as far as the running game, well, we defend the run pretty well. So I think that strength on that, it is a good matchup, Chuck. I mean, it's a tough matchup. But this is a good test for the Lions. I mean, we know we can beat up on bad teams. Bad teams ain't going to be able to run with the track meet that we got. So, defensively, I mean, I like where we stand in this game. Leave your thoughts in there on the defense, and I'm going to move on. Let's flip it. Let's flip it to Baltimore's defense. Zach Orr is calling it now. Now, taking that page that Dan Campbell loves these player coaches. Zach Orr is a former linebacker, full Baltimore mentality, hybrid 3-4, nickel shell safeties, rotating disguises everywhere. If you hold on to that ball a tick too long, they're sending pressure right at the right time. Kyle Hamilton, well, that's their version of Brian Branch. He's everywhere. Roquan Smith, he erases dump-offs and tight ends. You want to check down, forget about it. You want to seam? Well, that's where they're vulnerable. And that's where I expect Amon-Ra and Sam Laporta to cook. Right in the seam. If they blitz enough to keep you honest, even without Van Noy, they're still going to be nasty. But when they do blitz and they leave that wide open space right there, that's where Jared Goff, I think, thrives. So, defensively, I mean, I think that we could attack them and be successful because of where our guys are. They can stop a lot of elements of our offense, but, when we're executing well with our playmakers and our short game, I don't know. I don't think teams are going to be able to tackle as well as Green Bay did in week 1 because we had so many of our own mistakes in that. But when we're executing, I mean, I don't think any defense can stop our playmakers. So, when it comes to the offense, our offense got completely shut down that last time that we played Baltimore too. So there's a lot of attitude in this game for the Lions. And the thing is like, you might not think that it means anything, but it means something to the Lions. You don't forget something that's like that. And that's the one thing about the strength of the Lions team that sometimes I think is underestimated. Is like the strength of the team being the continuity. Because a lot of these players, they grew up together. They've spent their entire pro career here, and usually that doesn't happen because of contracts and, keeping good players together. But, 3 years ago, when you're going back into this game, you got a lot of that team that experienced that loss together. And you usually don't have that, 3 years removed, having such a big core of really good players that all got to experience something like that together. The NFC Championship too. So it's like, to me, that builds your foxhole. Our foxhole is strong here in Detroit because of that. So what do we got to do? So what are the keys to the Lions' victory? Or better yet, the question would be is, how do you break a bully? How do you break a bully? Baltimore's been bullying. I ain't going to sugarcoat it. The villain don't sugarcoat. How to bully a bully. And I think that's what you got to do, is you got to bully the bully. So, number one, clamp Zay Flowers, make Lamar Jackson win with somebody else. 2, they got to stay. Get disciplined in their gaps. Don't give them the free home run. Make them work. I mean, if they got to get 3 yards at a time, 3.5 yards, and they got to inch their way down the field, then so be it. If they can do that and they can stay disciplined, then make them earn those touchdowns. But don't give them a free 50-yard, Lamar Jackson run or a Derrick Henry just running down the field. Don't give that to them. 3, attack the seams. Attack the seams. Force Kyle Hamilton and Roquan Smith into hard coverage choices. Laporta zigging while Jameson zagging. Pick your poison. Make Kyle Hamilton come up to the box and have to stay there because of the threat of run. And then hit them seams. If you can bring Kyle Hamilton up, send Laporta deep. Send Amon-Ra deep, right up the middle of the field. 4, protect the edges. And if Decker can't go, then it's the young guys, man. Giovanni Manu going to be out there. Right next to Mahogany. I mean, I don't know when we're going to see the future of this offensive line, but the future of the offensive line has Giovanni Manu on it. And I don't know if he's ready yet, but you got to put him in there. Trial by fire. He's going to figure it out. When you're betting on players like that are so freakishly athletically gifted, you just got to get the mind and the technique to match up. And it doesn't always happen, but if and when it does, that you're going to have a stud there. I believe that in Giovanni Manu. Some of these guys are wired right here, and you just got to get the body to catch up with it. And you can't teach 6'8", 350 with solid muscle. So I'm anxious at some point in this year that Giovanni Manu is going to get his shot. Anyway, protecting the edges, man. Don't let free rush. Keep Goff clean. Keep Goff clean. I mean, you're going to be on the road again. So you're not going to be able to hear the calls as much. That's a big That's one of the first things that I really want to hear and that I really want to look at, because those young guards, Ratledge and Mahogany, were not good in week 1 when they couldn't hear the calls. Lots of miscommunications. Lots of guys zigging when they're supposed to zag. So that's a huge thing to really look at. So it's about discipline, it's about grit, and finally, getting to flip the script. Monday Night Football, Ravens versus the Lions. 6 straight losses say Baltimore is the bully. But the villain says it's time to punch the bully in the mouth.
You've had enough of that shit.
We've had enough of that shit. Punch the bully in the mouth. Don't let 2 players beat you because the team isn't better. The Lions got a better team. Don't let 1 or 2 players beat you. Rick C's calling it out. More targets for Tesla. Force Amon-Ra into single coverage. Isn't that the beautiful thing, though? One of the things that Tesla said earlier in the training camp that sticks with me is like, all of the guys can win their one-on-ones. And the defense is going to dictate where that ball gets thrown. I mean, they can't double everybody. You know, they're either putting coverage over the top to try to stop that long ball with Jameson, but then that opens up the run lanes. You know, the further they're off the line of scrimmage, trying to defend our speed, the better that is for the running game. And vice versa. They start slipping up and pushing the line of scrimmage, trying to get guys up on the line of scrimmage to stop the run. Well, that's where guys like Tesla and Jameson Williams can beat people over the top with their speed. Our offense is designed to put you into a trick bag. And once you're in that trick bag, there's no way out. We're gonna score anytime that we want, because you can't fully defend it. The first thing that you have to do to fully defend it is stop the run. And our run is, I mean, I don't know if anybody could stop our run if we can get our communication and our checks in. I mean, you can say Green Bay did it in week 1, but I'm not really going to judge how good my team is until about week 6. And what happens if Green Bay, maybe they peak too early? I mean, that does happen too. Sometimes you come out swinging. It's a long season. You can get tired in the season. DJ, you know what I like to talk about, DJ? I like to talk about stuff that nobody's talking about. Welcome back to the Seasoned Villain Squad, and welcome back to you.
You like that?
I love it. What no one is talking about is Dan Campbell revenge games. San Francisco, Dallas, Seattle, and now Ravens. This will be epic. So, it is. I mean, it definitely is a revenge game. This is a revenge game that dates back to 2005. And maybe that's the advantage of the Villain Report, because we do talk about the stuff that nobody talks about, right? The last time the Lions beat the Ravens was 2005. Joey Harrington went 10 for 23 for 97 yards. Kevin Jones scored 2 touchdowns, averaging 2 yards a carry. Aren't you glad that we have a running game now? But that was the last time. It's 20 years ago. It's freaking 20 years ago. So you damn right it's a revenge game, DJ.
You like that?
Green Bay's Achilles heel will be Jordan Love. DJ don't believe in Jordan Love. He looked pretty good against us. Matthew says, get another person to match with Hutchinson. Well, some people might say that's Al-Quadin Muhammad. What do you think about the play of Al-Quadin Muhammad? I saw a meme that had the pressure rates that I posted onto the Facebook page, and Al-Quadin Muhammad was ranked in the top 10 of all pass rushers. That's crazy. Is that true? Al-Quadin Muhammad? I mean, are we allowed to talk about that? Because I know everybody's all so negative that the Lions didn't go out and get anybody. But last week, you know, at least against the Bears, they got 1, 2, they got 3 sacks from guys not named Aiden Hutchinson. And now you have a player, Al-Quadin Muhammad, who seems to be going into his prime as a player, somebody that's worked really hard to get into the spot that he's in, maybe getting an opportunity here. I mean, it remains to be seen whether that depth will get tested again. You know, last year losing Aiden Hutchinson, you know, that wasn't a good thing. You know, it was a hard thing to get through. And some would argue that they didn't. You know, they didn't win the Super Bowl. But the thing is I think it's underestimated the effect of having Aiden Hutchinson out there. And then the other players that you were expecting to step up last year being in secondary roles rather than having to beat a man. But what about David Daverman? I'm not. Is that? Are you talking about Davenport? Davenport. We don't know anything about Davenport yet. Davenport's getting tests and whatever happened. But I mean, Davenport came back into the game even after the injury. So I don't know if he's injured yet. Right now he's listed as questionable. Is Davenport. But even if Davenport is healthy, we got to talk about Al-Quadin Muhammad. Because right now, Al-Quadin Muhammad is the second best pass rusher on the team, not Davenport. So I don't know what you think about that. But the thing is, here's the thing with the Aiden Hutchinson deal. It's like you don't need a ton of pass rushers when you have Aiden Hutchinson out there because Aiden Hutchinson doesn't come off the field. So you're not talking about a rotation. Aiden Hutchinson's may come out for 4 or 5 plays during the entire game, just as a breather. So it's the other side that you're running the rotation in. And the Lions, sometimes you can put defensive tackles into that spot like guys like Makai Wingo could go into that spot. I mean, you could even put Talik Williams out on an edge. You know, we have a lot of defensive linemen. And we're asking guys to win one-on-ones, and so far it looks okay. Opposite of Hutchinson. And not even really opposite Hutchinson. Like, I mean, I don't think it's going to come from one person, DJ. Or not DJ, but Matthew. So the opposite Hutchinson, let's get a player opposite of Hutchinson. That's not in our cards. It's going to be many people. It's going to be a sack from Barnes. It's going to be a sack from Davenport, sack from Al-Quddin Muhammad, sending the safety blitz, sack from Brian Branch, sack from Jack Campbell. Because the thing is like you're not going to get around players not double teaming Hutchinson. So you're looking for other guys to win one-on-ones when they get those shots. And I'd like to see it come from all over the place, which is why I think they got Talik Williams. I think Talik Williams is going to be really good. I mean, you're talking batted down passes. That's the type of stuff that creates turnovers. When he's getting his hands up and batting passes down at the line of scrimmage. Rick C says, keep Lamar in the pocket. It's a myth he's disproven many times. I mean, that's the ultimate thing, right? Keeping Lamar in the pocket. I think you do your best to do that, but you also, on the second level of that, Rick, I think that you have to have somebody that has eyes on him. It might be a different person every play, but somebody's got to have eyes on him for when he gets out of the pocket that can follow him. But then it gets into the part where you can't let Lamar completely dictate the discipline of your defense either. So I don't know how they handle that. But I think that it comes down to, it's like Lamar's going to do Lamar stuff, and you got to be okay with that. You know Lamar's going to break out of the pocket, and he's going to make a play off platform that's going to move the sticks. I think what the discipline part is like you got to be okay that he's going to do that every once in a while, but at the same time, you got to make sure that that's a 10-yard first down and not a 50-yard touchdown. And that's where they say the discipline is, You don't want to overrun the play when you have a chance to, box him in, and tackle him for like a 12-yard gain, or you completely ruin your discipline. He jukes you and then is able to score a 50-yard touchdown. I think that's the type of stuff that they're talking about. Don't get outside of yourself. It's like the defensive call is the defensive call. It's like, let Lamar Jackson go off platform. You're not taking us off platform. You're going to go off platform, but you're still going to stay on our platform, and we're going to minimize what you do, Lamar Jackson. That's the plan. Because that's where the biggest things happen. The big, huge plays happen is like all of a sudden something's off platform, so the defense gets off platform. Then all of a sudden you got a wide open hole somewhere. And Lamar Jackson is a magician. He will find it. He will find that hole. in the defense. That's why you got to stay disciplined. You're watching the Lion Villain Report. You can catch me here Monday through Saturday at 10 a.m. on most days. I appreciate you guys jumping on here. I appreciate anybody that goes to the YouTube page and hits the subscribe button. That's right. We're available on all of the social platforms, and we appreciate you guys that support the page. And you can support the page just by putting comments in. And if you don't know what comment to put in, just say, if you are down with the Detroit Lions, give me a hell yeah. Type hell yeah into the comments if you don't know what to type. If you don't want to type hell yeah into the comments, then type in, what do you think that the final score is going to be of this game? Do you think that the Lions are finally going to get this monkey off their back? This 20-year monkey? You're talking about a team that dates back so far. Dan Campbell was a player. Dan Campbell was on the roster, even though he was injured, of the 0-16 team. Longer than that, since before the Lions went 0-16, that's how far this domination dates back. So, what is your prediction? Do the Lions finally get it done? Honestly, there's a proportion of a portion of the Lions fan base that's out there, and it's okay if you're in this camp that needs this victory in order for them to jump over onto that fence. There's a portion of the Lions fan base that's like, whoa, wait a minute. You guys haven't proven that you can stop a mobile quarterback. Every time a mobile quarterback comes to town, the defense gives up a gazillion yards. They get their ass kicked. That narrative is out there. Oh, man, we need to get a pass rush opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. Somebody got to step up. Man, Green Bay's so good now that they got Micah Parsons. Why didn't we go do that? Somebody needs to step up. So those are the two major things that I think that if you have the type of game that can disprove that narrative, that you will win over a big portion of the Lions fan base that's sitting on the fence right now going, yeah, but, you know, you got to do it against really good teams with mobile quarterbacks, like good mobile quarterbacks. We don't count Caleb Williams. We don't count the teams that we beat. There's always an excuse of why we beat the mobile quarterback when we beat them. But you go into Baltimore and you don't let Lamar Jackson run all over you, maybe even force him into a turnover or even a bad game. And you get 2 or 3 sacks on Lamar Jackson with guys not named Aiden Hutchinson. If you do those two things, limit Lamar Jackson, force him into a bad game, and then you get 2 or 3 sacks with guys not named Aiden Hutchinson, you'll watch. You watch the Lion fandom coming in droves. It's not that they're not out there, but Lions have this thing that we've suffered from for years. It's called PTSOL. It's not our fault. traumatic, same old Lions. You've had it happen so many times that you don't know how to feel. So when we go into games like this, there's some of these Lions fans that just kind of you have these, traumatic feelings. Doesn't matter how the team is now, but it's still like, they've hurt me before. And no, I think we just got to stiffen up. We got to beat this team. Now, I'm going to pick the Lions against the spread because we got points coming our way. Now, whether we win the game or not, that's a different thing. But I think the Lions can win this game. The more and more that I think about it. I mean, and it comes down to what we do good. Like, if we play the mistake-free football, that's when I think that we're just a better team. If they play mistake-free and we play mistake-free, I think we win the game because we're a better team. I think that in a sense, like if you're going to beat a Lamar Jackson, you just got to parlay him the whole game and then put him in a corner and make him do everything and make it Lamar Jackson versus the Lions' entire defense, and then you can beat him because he's one guy and our defense is a whole thing. I think that's the mentality that you got to have, or you got to force him into some mistakes, or you get your big paws up. Like those defensive linemen have been doing, like Tyleik Williams has been doing. Get those hands up and bat the ball up in the air and that's how you can create some turnovers. So you're damn right. I think that this game is winnable. And I think they believe in themselves too. One more comb through the comments before I get out here. Rick C., this is a good point right here. Tyleik will have a significant amount of experience when Aleem gets back. Aleem will make TW better. Yes, he will. And the thing is on a rotation, gosh, that's going to be crazy when you think about that. And by the way, the injury report on Aleem McNeil is trending towards really good. I mean, he actually came out and said that if he was needed, that he could play right now. Now, obviously, he wouldn't be available at the earliest would be week 5, which I still think, to me, it just feels like that would be too early because he had an ACL injury. But, even if it's sooner rather than later, because week 5 is the beginning of October. I mean, if you could get him at the beginning of November, a couple weeks early, if you could get Aleem McNeil back before November, right at the beginning, because we were thinking Thanksgiving. You can get him back 3 or 4 weeks early. If he's actually healthy, that would be such a big thing. And with Tyleik playing so well, I mean, you could bring Aleem back and you could definitely put him on a pitch count. You wouldn't have to overwork him. So, I don't know. When do you think Tyleik's going to be back? Think that's just blown smoke? He says that he could play this weekend if we were needed. How about that? I'll throw that as a final question out there. Do you think that, because he's actually, when it comes to his, the IR thing, the designation, you can get those guys back week 5. So that would be the earliest that you could get Tyleik Williams back, would be week 5. So, do you think that there's any chance that the Lions activate Aleem McNeil right away and have him back week 5? I love these. Throw that question out there. DJ says 28, 38, 31, 28. 34, 31 from Brian. Of course, we got all the hopium going in here. I love it.
You like that?
Oh. So it's my Friday segment, my TGI Friday segment, where we go over our enemies. Know thy enemy. Appreciate you being part of it today. Hell yeah. Go Lions. DJ says we've done pretty good so far against 2 mobile quarterbacks. Yeah, but this is the mobile quarterback of all mobile quarterbacks. This is the quarterback that I think wins the fan base over. Because the people that are the detractors, the ones that I'm talking about would say, yeah, but it's Caleb Williams. They're not really mobile quarterbacks. I mean, they need like a real they're really talking Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. The guys that Justin Fields. The guys that will put up 100 on you, 100 on the ground, as well as throw it through the air. So, Ravens 45, Lions 9. And he backs that up with Baltimore Ravens are the most respected sports organization of all time. Or in all of sports. That's a pretty bold statement, but I mean, I don't really have any argument against that. They've always had a good product. Central Scrutinizer says Aleem will return ASAP. 31-17 Lions. Lions will dominate the game. Wow, that's bold. Oh, man. Get your predictions in there. Get your predictions in there. So thank you, everybody, for jumping on here today. I always have fun coming on here. I always have my 4 or 5 talking points, but I always like shooting the shit with you guys at the end. So I appreciate you guys. It is the Lion Villain Report. You can join me every week, Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m., talking some Lions football. I'll be here tomorrow doing our predictions with Robert. And, talk about the whole NFL week going into it. The Lions get the day off on Sunday. It's faith, family, and then football. In that order. We use football. We don't let football use us. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again in Jesus' name. I love you guys, man. I love that I get to talk some football every morning. This is one of the things that I get to do. I am blessed to be able to do this, and I appreciate you guys for making that possible. Thank you so much for being a part of today's show. God bless you. I'll see you in the next one. Know thy enemy.